Welcome to the Hidden Driveway Show. I'm your host, Amu, and joining me today, we have a very special guest, Temp Tats Magazine. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Tyler, and I'm the sole proprietor of Temp Tats Magazine, which is a Texas-based print publication that documents DIY music and culture throughout the United States.
Yeah, so you might think it's kind of weird because normally on here, it's like other music artists that I cover. But like I found your like platform, I realized like this is low-key Hidden Driveway, but like real life.
Real life.
Yeah, no, because a lot of my stuff that I do is like very internet-based.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what I grew up on. So that's like a lot of like what I'm more drawn towards. So I saw your stuff and it was like, wow, like I didn't realize how much it like translated to real life, even though obviously that's where it would have started. Just like, I'm so used to seeing all like the online stuff that I was like, this is so sick.
That's really cool, and I'm glad that you thought of me. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, well, to get us started, is there anything that you'd like to talk about? Is there anything on your mind right now whatsoever?
In general, like ever?
Ever.
Man, this rained this morning. It's pretty awesome. It hasn't rained here in a minute, and I was walking to class, and it was all cloudy and rainy, and I just felt fantastic. So I know that today is like going to be a very nice and special day. And also after this, I'm driving home to Houston, so I get to be with my family tonight. And overall, it's just going to be a great week, great weekend, and life is just fantastic right now.
Yeah, I actually slept through the rain. Like I woke up because I knew it was on the forecast, and I saw it. I was like,
sleeping through the rain is the best, though.
yeah. Plus, like I've been trying to fix my sleep schedule recently, so like maybe it was good that I slept through it.
True.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about like what you're driving home for? Because I know that's a pretty big thing for you.
Yeah. Great segue. I'm driving home for Temp Tats Magazine's annual Trans Day of Visibility Festival, which is this Saturday at 1810 Oshman. It's a celebration of trans art. So essentially, there's I believe it's 12 bands playing this year, and every single band has a trans member. And every single person that's organizing the festival is transgender, and all of the art vendors, there's a bunch of people going to be there selling art and zines and stuff. They're all transgender, and it's just like a big celebration of trans art and organizing, and it's going to be super awesome. It's like my favorite Temp Tats event to do, I think.
It's so cool too, because especially like being like in Texas, it's like you don't see that like ever.
Yeah.
Really.
And you would think that in a state like this, it's hard to find trans art, but we have when I booked the festival, I put out like an interest form, I guess, for like bands with trans people in it to fill out if they're interested in playing the festival, and we got like 200 this year. It's like insane, and I wish that I could put everybody in one show. There's just so many, and it's unbelievable.
Do you think you'd ever expand it to like multiple days? 'Cause I feel like at some point like,
that would
could
be so cool. That would be I wouldn't sleep, but I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, because like not only do you cover stuff, but you also do like the booking yourself too. So it's like you're really like in it now.
Yeah, it feels full time a lot of the time.
Yeah, is that weird just being a student where it's kind of like, because I know for me, like all my like art stuff, it's always like what's on my mind, but then I go to class and it's like, I'm here and it's kind of related to what I want to do, but like not really. It's the kind of same thing for you where it's like the...
It's interesting because I'm a journalism major, so a lot of this like assignments that I'm doing for school do tie into my magazine project a little bit, just because like I can get out and like my most recent project for my journalism class, Reporting Words, was on a Trans Day of Visibility, a different Trans Day of Visibility celebration at a gay bar called Oil Can Harry's. And I was working through this assignment, and I was just thinking, this is really similar to what I just like do for fun. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, because like I don't know if you know like the AET major.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what I'm in.
Art, Entertainment, Technology.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like all the stuff I make for class is like a separate part of my brain. Like I never think about it afterwards. Yeah.
I try to tie it all in, even though it can definitely be hard sometimes. We for my like journalism broader career, I want to do like more investigative work. So it's a little bit different, well, very different from what I do with Temp Tats. But I still like seem to find a lot of overlap, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently I did a story on text dot transparency, like freeway expansion, and I was writing it, and I've found myself having just as much fun writing that as I do when I interview bands, which it seems like very different, but I don't know. I maybe I just love writing.
I mean, you're a journalism major, so like if you didn't, that would suck.
I'd be fucked.
That'd suck
Maybe
pretty hard. Yeah, like what do you mean by like investigative work?
investigative journalism is kind of like long form journalism in a way, where you work on a project for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of like, essentially what I want to do is expose corruption in corporations and politics, and I think that the media, the whole point of it is kind of to be a watchdog for the government. So I kind of want to reinstate those values in media. I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
something that we've kind of lost with large news organizations. So I'd like to do kind of independent investigative journalism to maintain public transparency and keep an eye on these crazy people running our country.
Yeah, I think you know on the internet, like there's so much censorship now. You can't even say certain words anymore. 'Cause you have to have
Exactly.
like the emoji to get around it and whatever.
Yeah,
It's
and
kind of scary that we're like at that point.
it really is. Yeah, and that's like why I've been so against working for like a larger news organization. I feel like especially in like the journalism major, a lot of these people are like, I want to go work for the Times or CNN or whatever, and I'm like, they're gonna like really have a lot of say over your reporting,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have like some kind of opposition defiance, and I don't like being told what to do. But I'd really like to like have either my own news platform or just work independently, so I can report on whatever I want and not be censored by anybody.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense too, because it's like when you have the ability to do your own thing and have it be
Hmm.
successful, it's like why would you want to go
Exactly.
back to that?
Yeah, and the Temp Tats Magazine slogan is "fuck corporate press," so it kind of like, even though it's a like a music based publication, it's still like very political, I'd say. And I think that there's such a large intersection between like art and music and the state of the world and politics right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially. So I think that it's definitely important to like acknowledge that intersection and treat those people in power like shit, kind of.
Yeah, it's like I think now more than ever you kind of have to speak out because it's like if you don't,
Hmm.
it's just compliance, and that's not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of want to get into how I first found out about Temp Tats Magazine. I told you this
Hmm.
earlier, but I guess I'll say it for this because like people might not know
Of course.
the backstory, I guess. But so in 2024, like I was coming back from my first year of college, and I hadn't seen any of my friends from home because we all went to different colleges. And I had a friend that went to college in Wisconsin that had gotten really into her like local DIY scene that was like near her college. And when we came back, she was like, "We need to find like what's in Houston." And like the first thing that she found was the Pride Fest show, which you actually organized, but I didn't know any of this. I just went. I was like a random event that I went to,
Awesome.
and it was so crazy because it was just this whole world that I knew like literally nothing about. Like I didn't know this existed in
It was
Houston.
down the street.
Yeah, because when I think of Houston, it's just like we got flat ground and
Concrete.
highways,
Yeah.
and I live in the suburbs, so there's like nothing happening ever.
Hmm.
And there were even people like from my high school there, and it's like, why no one tell me?
That's crazy. And I think that a lot of people do overlook Houston because it seems so industrial, but really there's these like beautiful pockets of community and DIY spaces, and you just have to know where to look.
Yeah, plus Houston's birthed so much just like cool music over the years. So like Chopped
Hmm.
and Screwed is from Houston and stuff. Like I feel like there's a lot more culture there than people like tend to give it credit for, just because it is so like industrialized.
That's a great point. Something that I love about Houston music, especially, is that Houston is like one of the most diverse cities in the world. So people like spit out so many different genres and like influences of music, which is really, really cool to see. And that makes for like a lot of mixed genre shows. I feel I see like punk bands playing with emo bands, or like hardcore bands will have like an acoustic opener, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's really interesting. I don't know if a lot of other cities have that.
I know the shows that I've covered in New York, they've had like rock bands, and that's all hip hop artists like right after.
That's so cool.
It works too, because like they can have the complex setup for like all the drums, or whatever, and that's like
Hmm.
they just need the mic after, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just cool. Also, it's funny because like my friend had never like been to like a punk show before,
Hmm.
and she was like 4 11. She's like, I want to get in the pit, and then she saw the pit, and she was like,
Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it can definitely get intense sometimes. During No Sleep Fest, I was running like the merch tables, and we were right next to the like med student that they hired to be a medic,
Mm-hmm.
and people were running to her table with like bloody noses and stuff. Like it was so nasty. And she would get so busy, and then people would come to me, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do."
Wait, how
It
does it
was,
work as a booker? Because it's like it's your event that people are getting hurt at, but it's also kind of
yeah.
people kind of know it's gonna happen going in sometimes.
Definitely. My friends and I at No Sleep Fest have actually been planning to do like a group CPR and first aid like training class together. Just in case like people are injured at our events, like we have the ability to like handle that, or
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent, you know. So we're definitely planning on doing that, just like in attempt to keep everybody a little bit safer. I know people like kind of know what they're getting in for when
Yeah.
they come into that kind of environment, but we love them anyways, and we want to take good care of everybody.
Yeah, I know at Pride Fest, from what I remember, there was some guy, it was like one guy in the pit by himself, but he was doing these like spinning kicks in like a circle, and it's like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone near there either.
Oh
So,
yeah. It's really fun to watch though. It's kind of like a circus.
yeah. So, I guess I was just curious about like how Temp Tats Magazine like came to be, and then who like you were influenced by for it, because I'm sure there's stuff you
Hmm.
were inspired by when you like first thought of it.
Definitely. It's really interesting when people ask me how TempTats started, because I never really meant to start it. It kind of like snowballed into this big thing that I was never expecting. I believe I was like a sophomore in high school, and I had been going to punk shows for a while. I'd been going to punk shows since I was like 13 or 14, because my uncle was in hardcore bands in the like early 2000s, so I kind of like inherited music from him, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. I kind of knew what was up because of him. And I started going to these shows really young, and I brought my like little shitty digital camera. Like it was like a Walmart point and shoot. It was like not a good camera, and I would just come and take pictures of the people. Cuz I remember being like so young and never seeing people that were like cool, or like seeing queer people like
Mm-hmm.
in everyday life, really. So when I would go to these shows at these local venues, I was just like enthralled by the people, and I would take these pictures, and eventually I had accumulated so many photographs that I was like, I'd really like to like have these, like be able to hold them in my hand, you know. So I started working on this like photo book, and I think I got like a little bit carried away when I was working on the photo book, and I was really into like drawing and like graffiti street art stuff at the time, so I would include these like drawings and text like over the photos. And eventually when I was done with it, I was kind of like flipping through it, and I was like, I kind of made like a zine or like a magazine a little bit by accident, when it was really just supposed to be a photo book. So that was issue 1, and then issue 2 I kind of like really got into like the like magazine aspect of the
Mm-hmm.
project, and I started doing interviews, and then I just loved it so much that I never stopped, and now I've published 10 issues, which is really exciting and crazy and strange to look back on how that all started.
Yeah, I forget. Is the 10th one still upcoming, or is that one out?
10th one is out. I'm working on a compilation book of every issue right now, and then I'm working on issue 11 for No Sleep Fest this year. We're gonna interview every band on the lineup.
And how many is that?
Oh my god, it's gonna be like 30.
Do you have like, because when you do your own interviews, like what do you go into trying to like what is your thought process for like the interviews that you do?
It really depends on the band, I think. And also like my interpersonal relationship with the band members.
Yeah, that's how mine usually go
Yeah,
too.
I feel like when I interview bands with like people that I know or like that I have like established relationships with or that I'm friends with even, um I tend to be like a little bit sillier and ask more like ridiculous questions a little bit. And then with bands that are like maybe more professional seeming that I'm like a little bit intimidated by, I'll try to like be a little bit more professional. I remember one of my favorite bands ever and also my first show was the Queers.
Yeah.
And I got to like a few years after that I got to book a show for the Queers somehow. I don't know how I landed that. And I got to interview Joe Queer himself in his van and I was terrified. And I was trying to be a really really good interviewer and he was pretty drunk, so I don't think he cared. But it was I remember being so nervous because sometimes I get to talk to people that I'm like fans of, and it does something to my brain. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand because one of the I wish I had done it later on once I was better at doing these. But one of the first ones I did was with this artist called Orange Cake Mix, who is like he low-key invented bedroom pop in my opinion in like the late 80s, early 90s. Like that's when he was
Wow.
active. So he's like 66 now. And 2 years ago, I hit him up on like Facebook.
Facebook.
And I just remember being in the shower and I heard like a beep on my phone that I didn't recognize. Because I made a
Mhm.
Facebook like just for this, right?
Oh
Because I'm
wow.
like, I need this to happen. And he was down. And it was just so surreal because it's like this guy that was like larger in life than my head. I was like talking to him on like Zoom and it's like, wow. Although it's also crazy because then it kind of like demystifies them and you're like, wow, like this guy does poop.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, I knew he did, but I didn't realize.
No, yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. I for issue 10 specifically, I got to interview
Was it Jerome's dream?
I got to do Jerome's Dream and I got to do In Loving Memory, which were like two like crazy early screamo bands, and it was just insane to be able to talk to them. And then during No Sleep Fest last year, I got to meet everybody in Loving Memory and like give them a copy in print, and it was like really surreal. And sometimes like I know I've been doing it for so long, but sometimes I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah, is it surreal to you that you went from being like just like a fan of like the scene to being kind of like a figurehead in it almost?
It is, yeah. It's strange because I don't think that I ever like built up that hierarchy in my head. I feel like when I go to shows, I don't really have any like followers or fans. I just kind of have a lot of friends, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people to talk to in a great community. So I know that like you can maybe go on Instagram and see all the numbers, and it seems like I'm some kind of like figure or something. But really, I'm just like somebody that likes to go to shows and talk to people.
Yeah, but it's also if you don't have like a direct impact on like what you love because now there's so many events that like you've had a hand in.
That's true, and it's really an honor to be able to do that and have that platform and have people that are like so interested in the project as well. I have like people emailing me from like overseas asking if they can get like PDFs of the zines because I can't ship overseas because it's too
Mm-hmm.
expensive. And I'm like, how did you even find me? It's so crazy. But yeah, I don't know if I've like really registered that impact. It still like feels very new and exciting.
Yeah, I mean, for you have covered like so much. Like I know you did like the Flying Fish tour,
I did,
which is
yeah, I
crazy.
did go on tour with Flying Fish. It was a hard week, but it was a great tour.
Oh, it's like you were touring like with him.
Yeah, I was Pablo and I we booked all of the Texas dates and we went to all of them. And I remember I slept in my truck for more nights than I was wanting to. I drive a context. I drive a 1999 half cab Tacoma, so it is not comfortable, and my back hurt the whole tour. Um, and also, like a lot of things went wrong on that tour. I remember, like the guys in Flying Fish had like rented this van and they had like an Airbnb that they rented in like South Houston, and somebody started like shooting outside the Airbnb. So they were like, we don't want to stay here. Let's just drive to Austin, because the show was in Austin the following day.
Mm-hmm.
So they drive to Austin and they get to the hotel that they're staying at in that city. And Caleb, their fucking tour manager, I love you, Caleb. No shade to Caleb. He drives the van into a parking garage that was not tall enough, and the whole top of the van scrapes, and it was fucked up. So some things did go wrong on that tour, but overall, every show was successful. So like we didn't like lose any money really, and that's probably the most important part to them. So we did our job.
Yeah, it helps that he's also a bigger artist too.
Definitely, yeah.
Because like I do have like a, I guess like a long-term goal of being able to kind of organize my own like shows and tours with the artists I know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's harder because for you, like they're usually like more local, but it's like they're from like all over. So it's like I have to have money to do that. I do not have that right
definitely. Touring sucks and it's pretty expensive. But if the shows do well, it's enough money to get gas for the next city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was also curious, like, are there any other platforms that are kind of like, I guess that have served as like an inspiration for like what you do?
In terms of like other magazines, I was, especially early on, and honestly I still am, very inspired by Maximum Rock and Roll. It was like a punk hardcore magazine. I think it was like 80s to early 2000s, and they have interviews with all my favorite bands maybe, and they're so cool. They're printed on like newsprint paper. And I've always been like super inspired by Maximum Rock and Roll, and I was really excited to go to UT because in the zine library at UT they have a bunch of copies of Maximum Rock and Roll.
I didn't know we had that.
Oh my god, yeah, it's hidden though. If you go to the Fine Arts building, it's like the Doty Fine Arts building. On the 3rd floor there's a Fine Arts library, and then you have to go through like this little like secret hallway kind of up to the 5th floor, and then you have to like go around a bunch of these like archival books past this green wall, then you can find the zine section. And it's they try to hide it from you, but it's pretty cool. They have a bunch of old punk zines, a bunch of skateboarding zines, which is really cool, and they have Temp Tats also.
That's sick.
Yeah, and you can check them out. And I think that if you check it out, you can keep it for all semester.
I'll have to do that because I've been in that room once and I got there by accident, so I don't know how to get back there because I was wandering around one day. So I'll definitely have to go check that out.
Yeah, I run the zine club at UT, and we do little trips to all the little zine like spots around campus. So if anyone that goes to UT is interested in learning about zines and how to make zines, come to the zine workshop and education club. I teach it and it's really, really fun.
True. Because truth be told, like I couldn't actually access one of like the actual like magazines for this, so I might research just through like the channel and then like the Instagram page. Yeah. So it's like I haven't actually gotten to read like what the whole thing is.
I'll have to show you a copy. I have every issue just in my apartment, but at the library I think they have issue 5 and 10.
No, because I was so geeked when I saw the Jerome's Dream like interview, because I looked at like the Instagram post for it, because like I was really into them during in like 2023, because I had a big like emo violence phase.
You were hype on that reunion, I bet.
Yeah, so it was like that was crazy to see, just because they feel so like distant. It's kind of weird how like so many of those bands are like way closer in proximity than you think they are a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I talked to, I believe he's their drummer, on Zoom, and he was so nice and like very welcoming, and I was like really intimidated going in, and he made me feel like so at home, even like, through a screen. He's a super cool guy.
Yeah, and then in terms of like the YouTube channel side, because obviously like that's a very different medium, like how do you approach that? Because that's like what I've mostly been exposed to your work through.
The YouTube channel I think is like honestly pretty DIY. I kind of just like put whatever I want on there. I did a lot of video interviews in like the past couple years, but I think that now I'm leaning more towards putting the interviews like in writing in the magazine, just because I think it helps with the longevity of them. Like maybe the QR codes in there one day might expire, or maybe like YouTube will take my channel down or something. So I just want like the magazine to be more like forever. So I'm focusing more on putting interviews and writing now. But as for like the other things on the channel, like the documentaries and stuff, those have always been really fun. I kind of have like a not very professional approach to them. Like I don't have mics or anything. I'm kind of just like bringing my camera to the shows and filming and talking to people and bands and stuff. And it's always just been like very laid back, and I just kind of put everything together. And those people tend to really like those, I think. Those have the best response on the YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I think they do a good job of kind of like encapsulating like what the community is that you're part of. Because there's some of them like I think it's like the This Is Houston under like whatever it's like the very first video on the channel.
Welcome to the Houston Underground.
Yeah, with that one, it's like you feel like you're there even though you're not.
That video feels dirty, I think.
Yeah,
like, you feel the like you can maybe smell it a little bit. It's kind of a nasty one.
Yeah, I also like how, like you said, you're not afraid to experiment either, because I was just on the concert footage videos, and you will just do whatever for the camera. Like, sometimes you'll have like a fish island, sometimes you'll have like a random filter over it.
That's true. I forgot I filmed sets before. Yeah, I did film sets. I remember I was filming an Orion 224 show one time, I think it was, and I like climbed on top of this like big industrial shelf, and I was filming like everybody in the crowd and the band from like the ceiling. It was a really cool perspective. That was really fun. I think that like the set video on YouTube that's had the best response is probably the Your Arms Are My Cocoon one, because that was when Your Arms Are My Cocoon had like first kind of started getting into doing shows. They were like an internet project prior. So there was like not a lot of people at that show, and I think that people think that that's pretty cool to see, because now they're like selling out these big rooms and stuff. So it's cool to like capture like a more intimate moment like that.
Yeah, that was cool too, because my friend Nora is friends with, I forget who, but it's someone in the band she's cool with. So shout out Ellie Bell. Because like they knew each other when it was during like the internet like phase of it, because they were both kind of part of that like internet emo like scene.
Yeah.
In like 2023, like whatever.
Your Arms Are My Cocoon is funny to me because the vocalist and like the main writer for it is also named Tyler, and he's also vegan, and he also has brown hair and is kind of nerdy looking. So I think that sometimes people don't know which Tyler is which when they talk about either one of us. So I think that's really funny.
Yeah, but I also appreciate the DIY like look, I guess, because like we're filming this with like a handy cam, and it's like, yeah, I probably could get a better camera, but I kind of like how it feels like a home video. It makes it feel more personal because of it.
I definitely agree. It just feels more intimate, I think, than like a high production thing.
Yeah, I also like the interview that you did with the photographers.
Oh,
in the scene, because like it highlights people that are very like vital to like the community that like wouldn't normally be spotlighted.
Yeah,
because like without them, like you don't even like see these shows after.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on. That was a cool one. I forgot about that.
I don't know. I just feel like you do a really good job with like serving as like an archive of the community that you like ride so hard for. I think it's sick.
Thank you. I'm like a little bit motivated by my uncle, because he used to be in this hardcore band, and they were like kind of like a mid-sized hardcore band like in the like local scene, and he had toured with like Bane and stuff. He's played a bunch of crazy shows, but there's no videos of his band like on the internet that you can find. And really the only like archive that he has of it is like some demo CDs that they made. But even those are like pretty limited, and he doesn't have like a lot of videos or photos. And I remember like a few times he's told me like I wish that someone was there documenting these shows, because it'd be so cool to look back on now. He's like in his 40s. So I kind of like want nobody to have to feel that sort of like, I wish I had this. Again, I want people to like be able to look back on this period of time and see the art that they were making, and be able to like look back at it fondly.
It's always crazy too, because like when you're in the moment, it feels like the present, obviously, but then you look back a few years later and it's like, wow, that was like an era.
Yeah,
And you don't even realize
absolutely.
until after it's over.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially with like physical spaces and venues, I think that like sometimes venues close down or maybe even just like become less trafficked or popular over time. And I think that like especially with the older people in the scene, they always talk about, dude, Mango's used to be so cool, or like Fitzgerald's used to be so cool, and I'm like, I don't even know what that looks like because there's not a lot of like videos of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess speaking of like, 'cause we've been talking about Houston this whole time, right? Because that's also where I'm initially from, but I've been living in Austin for 3 years, and I think being here has kind of made me like almost take for granted things that Houston had that I hadn't really like thought of until I was here.
Mm-hmm.
So, given that you also have a lot of like Houston pride, I was kind of curious, like, what some of your favorite, maybe least favorite things about the city were.
Oh yeah. My least favorite thing has got to be like getting around. Like
Mm-hmm.
driving on Katy Freeway or like 45 like sucks. And like, oh my God, my house is like 3 miles from a bunch of the venues and it takes me like up to 20-30 minutes to get there sometimes. So just like getting around in Houston really sucks. But I love like the spaces that the community has cultivated and I love the people. And I think that there's like so many creatives there and it's such like a diverse, nice city to be able to be in. And I always love visiting home. It's like my favorite place in the world. Um, and I think that if I wasn't from Houston, I wouldn't love it as much. But since I am from there, there's just a lot of sentimental value like growing up
Mm-hmm.
there. And also like I lived in the same house my whole life. So I feel just very rooted in that city and like in just the inner city area in general. So it's just like a very special place to me.
Yeah, I was the same way where like I grew up in the same house my whole life. I think my favorite thing, and you wouldn't think because I think Austin does have it better here, but like if you find a good park in Houston, like it's a good park, but you do have to go really look for them.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like I think like Memorial is probably the biggest one that people know about, but there's a lot of smaller ones that like if you search them out, because me and my friend had a thing where like whenever you go home for the summer,
Mm-hmm.
every week we just find a new one and like go explore it for the day.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe Austin does have better parks. I hate to admit that Austin has something better, but they do have pretty nice parks here.
It's just because it's not flat here. Like that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Because when I did the drive out here for orientation, I never realized like how flat Houston was until I saw
Mm-hmm.
like the roads like get hilly, and I was like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And one of the coolest things about living in Austin is sometimes if you're like driving on the freeway, you see all the hills like in the distance, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I never saw hills when I was growing up. So it feels like I don't know, it kind of never gets old. I'm always like amazed by the beauty, even though it's like still a city.
Yeah. Have you been to Mount Bonnell here at
I
all?
have, yeah, it's
Dude, the
really
drive there is
cool.
so nice.
It's yeah, it's pretty awesome. Oh my God, one time I was like using a public bathroom and I got stuck in there and I was like trying to break. I was like really trying to get out of this bathroom. Like I was moving the door all crazy. I was stuck in there for like maybe 7 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out and there was a guy waiting to get into the bathroom. And I was like, dude, I was kind of making small talk with him when I got out. I was like, dude, like, don't lock that door because you'll get stuck like I just did. And then we just got to talking and he started talking about Mount Bonnell and I was not doing anything that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna go check that out. And I went and I like hiked on the trail and I went like to the highest point in the city, I think, and I just like saw the like what is it, that river or like Ladybird Lake? Is it
Yeah.
Ladybird? It's a lake.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I was just like, wow, this is so beautiful. Living here is pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you're ever able to, because like I don't know what you consider walkable, but it's like an hour and a half walk from here if you walk there. And like once a semester, I always make sure to do that at some point, because I feel like you can get so wrapped up in like what's happening here.
Hmm.
That's kind of good to be able to like walk all the way there, know you walked there, and then look back because you can see the UT Tower from the top.
Oh,
I feel like my whole world
nice.
is like right there, but I'm up here.
That's so cool. That's such a nice tradition to have once a semester, once a year.
Yeah, it's just like because I think I can get pretty lost sometimes, and I think that kind of helps ground me, where it's like I can do whatever I want when I want to.
Yeah, you realize you have free will and just go crazy.
Yeah, I also really like the 360 bridge, but like you need a car to get over there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been to that.
It's like, it's weird because people say to go to the bridge, but it's not the bridge that's the actual attraction. It's like the cliff that's right next to it, but it also has like a really nice view of Austin from there.
I've heard word about a cave somewhere that has like a view that overlooks downtown, but I'm not exactly sure where it is. But my friend and we always talk about, let's go find the Austin cave. I bet we can find it, but I haven't had any
This
luck.
is news to me, so I might need to find that cave now.
Hey, I'll let you know if I find it.
Yeah, I need to explore more of Austin also, because like I don't have a car here, unfortunately. So it's like I can bus around, I guess, but I usually just walk to find places.
You got a bike?
I don't. I should,
dude,
though.
get on Facebook Marketplace.
My favorite place I've like found is, do you know like it's like the Shoal Creek like Greenway or Greenbelt?
I think that my friend goes to walk his dog there. And I don't think I've been by myself though.
Because there was one day where I was walking to Mount Bonnell. I just saw this like, I just saw that on the side of the road, like it just kind of opened up. And I was like, what's in here? I just walked down there, and there's just the whole path in there. And
That's
I just kept
so
walking
cool. You're
on
just
it.
exploring. That's
Yeah,
nice.
that area is awesome too. Like they have I've been a night before. They have this area where it's just a bunch of like, it's like a big open field, and they have these like stone like rectangular like squares you can like sit on,
That's pretty cool.
and a little like, tree you can climb.
I'm a real tree climber. I love climbing trees. That sounds right up my alley. I'll have to go there.
Yeah, I have a fear of heights. So I don't go like too high, but it's like climbable enough that I can get up and not feel like too scared.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think going back to Houston, also just the diversity of like everything there too, because like Austin's definitely wider than Houston. That's the thing I've noticed.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I've picked up on that a lot since moving here. You totally can't tell because no one can ever tell, but I'm like fully Mexican. And when I came to Austin, I definitely picked up on like how much wider it is than Houston. I guess Austin is like a very segregated city though. So like a lot of white people live on the inner city area, and everybody else kind of lives on the outskirts, which is, I don't know, it's interesting to see.
Even with UT, which like I guess it's just kind of like, we don't have to get into all like the socioeconomics of it, but it's like because of how the top 6% works, it is like a lot of like white people that end up like getting into UT in the first place.
That's true. Yeah, that's a big factor, definitely.
So it was a weird adjustment almost, because my school was majority like, I think it was like Asian and Hispanic. So like going from that to here, it's like everyone's still here, but it's just like not as much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you like visiting home then because of that?
I like going home for like the people, which is nice. I think also, and maybe this is my experience, but there's so many like queer people in Houston also that I was never afraid to like come out either, because like I already knew so many people that it was like not like a scary thing for me to do.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm a little bit on the same page there, especially with like local music. There's like, honestly, I know Austin is like supposed to be the gay city, but I know more queer people from Houston.
Yeah.
Like than I do Austin. But I think that Austin is like, maybe it built up that reputation because of how it was in like the early 2000s, but now I think it's just become like so techy. So there's just like a lot of white guys with mustaches that live here.
But that's if you're in like downtown though. I feel like if you avoid that area, like you see a lot more.
I work in the middle of downtown.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. It sucks. But yeah, I love visiting home just because it feels more like I get more experiences, and I feel like when I talk to people, no one's the same, which is nice.
Yeah, I think like the co-ops here kind of feel like a microcosm of Houston in a way. I feel like that's more representative of like...
The co-ops are super cool.
Yeah.
I have some friends that live in them. I don't think that I could live in a co-op because I'm crazy. But I had 2 roommates my freshman year, and it drove me so crazy. I just need to be by myself. And also, I don't know, I feel like I have these like kind of unspoken apartment rules for like my living space. Like I'm fully vegan, so like there's no animal products
Yeah.
in my apartment. And if I lived with well, I did live with other people, and like obviously it's hard to find another vegan roommate. So that just like drove me crazy. And I don't know. I sometimes I just like get in these modes where I'll clean for hours and a little bit of dust will push me over the edge maybe. So co-op is maybe not the place where I should be, but I do love them from the outside, and I think that they're incredible like conceptually, and I think that the people that organize them are so smart because they have these like board meetings where they all get together and vote on like certain issues, and make decisions together, and I think that it's like such a valuable and cool way to like build these like teams almost and form connections with people, especially during college when it's so easy to feel like lonely
Mm-hmm.
and isolated, especially if like you moved here from out of town or out of state. I think that co-ops are an incredible thing. And oh my god, housing on UT campus and like a little bit off campus, unreasonable.
Evil.
Yeah, evil. So I mean, co-ops just make everything like easier and more affordable for everyone. So go co-ops.
Yeah, I think like in theory I'd like living there, but in practice probably not. Like
Yeah.
my friend invited me over one time, so I was hanging out with her, and like we were in a room, and her roommate was there because they shared a room,
Mm-hmm.
and like I could tell she was trying to just ignore us, so, like pretending we weren't there. It's like that sucks. That
Yeah.
like that's the setup they have to have.
It does, yeah. It can make for like a little bit awkward interactions, especially if like someone in the house is like not the biggest fan of someone else in the house. Like there's like 30 people. That's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Like that just sucks for everybody.
There's one guy I didn't know him personally, but I know he got booted like from a co-op, and it's
Oh
like
no, voted out.
it's like you gotta be like really evil, like,
Yeah,
to get to
what
that
did
point.
he do? That's crazy.
So I don't even know if I can talk about it here. But it was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much. Yeah. To speak more on the Pride Fish show that I attended though.
Sure.
So going there was really surreal because it felt like I said earlier, but it's like, it was like a gateway, like a secret society almost, because it
Yeah.
was such like an established thing. I could tell that, but I guess like I had never seen like any of this, so it was like whoa. And one of the bands that I really enjoyed there, like I followed him on Instagram like right after, because like that's how you know it was a good set. It was Dream Sequence. I know you interviewed also.
Oh yeah.
But to speak on the band's name, right? I think especially just having like a DIY scene is very much like not like binary, right?
Mhm.
It's a little abstract, and dreams can also be pretty abstract. So I was curious what some of your most memorable dreams have been, whether they're like positive or negative.
Like sleeping dreams?
Yeah, sleeping dreams.
So I don't know. I'm kind of like the worst person to ask because I never dream.
Really?
No, I don't remember my dreams ever. Or like when I wake up, like I don't remember anything from when I was sleeping. Like it's just black. And I really wish that I had dreams because I think that a lot of the like especially visual artists that I love are very inspired by the dreams that they have. But I can just never remember. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing out a little bit.
There was one I had recently because I've been noticing, at least over the last year, I feel like my dreams have been really like symbolic for some reason. And like I know that because it'll be things that like you see in your day to day that kind of make their way in there. But one of them like unlocked a fear for me that I didn't know I had recently, and it's like a
Really?
really weird one too, where there was this like chicken in the dream, and I was really afraid of like the chicken for some reason. He was a chill chicken, but I was like really scared for some
Yeah.
reason. And then like this week I've been noticing when birds will like fly towards me, I get like really anxious, and this like wasn't a
Really?
thing before.
That's really interesting. Is it like a fight or flight kind of thing that you feel?
Yeah, I think I just don't want to get hit because it's like
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been driving and they'll like go at the windshield for a second and you like want
Yeah.
to swerve out of the way.
Yeah.
It feels like that, but there's no barrier, so it's like I don't know what I would do if it happened. Even though like, it won't happen because they just fly around me.
That's interesting. I wonder where that came from. If it just spawned out of nowhere.
It was probably something related to like sports because I know when I was a kid, I always hated like baseball and like kickball because it's like
The ball's going right at your head.
yeah, like, that's scary.
I was always the kid that wasn't playing the sport, and I would just get hit by the ball when I was like walking to the bathroom. That maybe, maybe we're on the same page with that one.
Yeah, I know my parents had me in basketball for a little bit, like for some
Really?
reason. No, because they were like, maybe he has a hidden talent for sports. So they put me in like everything where like for a year, like in the YMCA, I'd be in like one of them.
Really?
And they put me in basketball, but I don't think I'd ever actually watched a basketball game before when they put me in
No.
there. So I don't know how any of it worked. And I shot a basket, and I guess I thought I was supposed to like go catch the ball afterwards. So I ran into the net, and it just hit me right in the face.
Oh
right
no.
after.
My parents never put me in team sports, but my dad wanted me to be tough. So when I was 7, he put me in MMA, and I did it till I was 17. And I would fight in like the stadiums. I fought in NRG Stadium. I fought in George R.
That's
Brown.
crazy.
Yeah, it was really crazy, and it was really fun too. But then I kind of stopped after I went to college. Just because I don't know. Maybe I grew out of it. Maybe I'll return to it at some point in my adulthood because I did really find it fun and fulfilling. And I think that it made me like a less angry person, and it like taught me because I did it all throughout puberty, like when you're angriest.
Yeah.
And I think that it taught me to like regulate my emotions or like channel it into something else. So I really did find it like helpful and beneficial to my development, even though maybe like getting knocked in the head isn't so good for your brain. I really did find it fulfilling. So maybe I'll go back to it one day. I don't know. I've just been off my game.
Yeah, I wish, because like I think now I'd probably enjoy sports a lot more. But I was very much still like scrawny, like awkward.
Me
Like
too.
I'm not gonna fit in that environment with the people that like want to be there.
I definitely felt like that a lot of the time when I was doing MMA because I was like a little transgender kid. And I was like, I definitely got like pretty good at some point, but I was never like the demographic, I guess, of the gym. And maybe I stuck out like a sore thumb a little bit. But I was also throughout like middle school and high school pretty into skateboarding, which I don't know, maybe some people would consider it a sport. I just kind of thought of it as being outside. But definitely I fit a little bit more in with those people than I did with the MMA people.
Yeah, I know my main activity as a kid, which was never my choice either. Like I was in Boy Scouts. My parents were
Really?
like, "You gotta be in Boy Scouts. You gotta get the Eagle Scout," and I did. But I just like hated almost everyone in my troop, cause like when you think of like a Boy Scout, it was like those kinds of people, and like all my friends ended up being like neurodivergent kids too. It's like so I found my people there, I guess, but it was like we were very clearly like sectioned off from like what the rest of the troop was.
Yeah.
But I also don't think a lot of the troop was like good people in hindsight. Even the leaders, like one of them, dude, he got arrested because
Whoa.
he worked for the Houston bank, right? And he got caught stealing money from the bank because he was paying off a dominatrix because he was cheating on his wife with her.
Whoa.
And this is the whole thing. And it's like, I already didn't like this guy because he was mean to me all the time.
Yeah.
And I find this out, I'm like,
Now you have a justification.
Yeah, it's just like-
or more reason
but then after all this, like, they let him back like, once he got out. And it's like,
to work at Boy Scouts or the bank.
Boy Scouts. And it's like, why are
Oh
you
my
letting him be
God.
around all these kids? Like, this shouldn't.
Yeah, that guy should be on some kind of list.
Yeah, I don't know. Or there was I was afraid of cooking for a long time.
Really?
Because basically in Boy Scouts, the way it worked was like our very first year, each like camp out, it was someone's turn to like cook, right? And when it was my turn, the person that was in charge of bringing like all the instructions and whatever, just like didn't bring them. And I'm like 10, so I don't know what to do. So I had to like step in for me. And then I tried again like 2 years later, and I was chefing up like some French toast, right? I'm like, wow, I'm really doing it. And then this guy came over because he came to the camp out like late, so he already had breakfast. And he just poured bleach into my French toast like as I'm making it.
Bleach?
Yeah, so I just stopped and I'm like,
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
That's fucked up. You were working hard on that French toast.
Yeah, so like I don't think I tried cooking again until like college because of that. I was so like
I would have been mad too. That sucks. I love cooking, but I didn't know that until I left my parents' house, and I went to college and I lived by myself for the first time, and I had to like fend for myself, I guess. And like especially being a vegan person, I've always felt that like cooking is liberating in a sense, because I feel like cooking good vegan food is almost a form of activism and like encouraging other people to try it and enjoy it. And it's like a weird praxis, I guess. So I always viewed cooking as like a valuable political thing for me to do. I guess that kind of gave me some purpose in learning how to cook well. But I've really enjoyed it this like last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I roast vegetables. I make hella lentils, curry, rice. It's been really, really fun, like teaching myself.
That's awesome. I need to cook more because whenever I do, I feel real good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I think in my head, if it takes longer than like 10 minutes to do, I end up not wanting to do it because I have so much other stuff going on.
Definitely, yeah. I have like these things I call slop meals where I just like get a pan, put it on the stove, and I'll put like a bunch of canned shit in there. I'll do like canned tomatoes, canned black beans, canned chickpeas, and then like some garlic, onion, and like seasonings like curry powder, turmeric, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion
Mm-hmm.
powder, and then I just mix it together and I have this big like slop curry soup kind of deal. It's really good and super easy. You just leave it on once you put everything in there, just leave it on the stove. It's pretty awesome. Good easy slop meal.
I'm gonna have to tap in. Going back to something you said earlier, so getting to work with like an artist that you're a fan of is always a really special, surreal experience. And I
Yeah.
know you mentioned that you got to not only book but also interview like Joe Queer from the Queers,
Mm-hmm.
which is super awesome. And I think it was in the trans punk documentary you mentioned that like Grow Up was the album that was kind of like your gateway.
Yeah, I was honestly like I was listening to Grow Up on my walk over here.
Oh really?
Grow Up is like my album, dude. It's maybe one of the albums like alongside Descendants and shit that made me fall in love with like punk music. And when I was like 12 or 13, my uncle gave me those like CD binders that people would have in like the 90s and 2000s full of all of his like old CDs that he'd collected over the years, and one of the first ones on there was The Queers Grow Up, and I listened to it and it just made me fall in love with music really, and it's one of those things that like I keep on repeat even like into adulthood. It's been a really special album to me.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to speak on that album a little bit because like the album's title was Grow Up, but I think that like childhood experiences are so like integral to like who we are today, especially like when you put into art. Also, I feel like what you liked as a kid is such a big part of like what you're drawn towards.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious about like, it might be kind of a hard question to answer, but like what connects you to like your inner child? Now, that might be like a broad question, but like I don't know, like
That's a
like
good
what do you
question.
think draws like what do you think you're really drawn to when it comes to like art? I guess that might be easier.
That's a great question. I've never really thought about it before. I think that my whole life, like my parents always say, like even like when I was able to pick up a crayon for the first time, I've always loved drawing,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been like a primarily visual kind of artist my whole life. I'm really into these last couple years. I've been really into like large scale oil painting, and I think that my relationship with like making visual art and painting especially ties in a lot to the kind of music that I like, because I think that I paint very like boldly, and I think the music that I like is also very bold. So maybe I get this kind of like intensity or like adrenaline from the art that I love based on the art that I consumed when I was a kid and created my whole life. That's what I think. But maybe I'll come up with a better answer when I think about that more. I've never been asked something like that before. It's a good
Yeah, no, because when I
question.
was writing it, I was like, I like this a lot, but that might be like,
It's
'cause
a
that's so like at your core. That's kind of
yeah.
hard to like think of on the
It
spot.
it definitely is like a deeper question to answer, and I'll have to think about that one more. I've never thought about it like that. It's pretty cool.
Because for me, it's different. Because like I make music, like that's my like art form
Hmm.
that I usually partake in. But I think a lot of like video game stuff definitely has like made its way into what I'm really inspired by, just because it felt so like magical when I was like little, I guess.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of music I consumed in like 2021 for some reason, which like it's weird because I was still making music during that time period, but I think now so much of my inspirations like were things I either like found during that time or like came out then.
Hmm.
But they're all very like digital and like soft. I feel like that's like what I'm very like drawn to.
That
Which
makes
like
sense. Yeah.
I guess it kind of makes sense why I do the interviews this way too, where it's like mostly online people, where it's meant to kind of look like older in a way,
Yeah.
and then they're pretty like laid back in terms of like the vibe. I don't know. I just feel like that's been such like a core of like who I am. That's kind of always been like what I've been drawn to.
That makes sense. That's really cool to hear how like it's interesting that you bring up like the intersection between like digital video games and like how the music sounds. That's pretty cool to think about. I guess like thinking of other forms of media like that. I'm a big like reader and I love physical books. And I love like a lot of really intense books as well. My favorite is like historical fiction and
Mm-hmm.
maybe my favorite book ever. And I might be a little bit biased because it's my favorite author also that like kind of made me fall in love with reading. But it's Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and that book is non-chronological and it's kind of all over the place and very jumbled and it makes your head hurt a little bit. And I think that my favorite albums and my favorite pieces of visual art are also like that. Um, Especially like thinking about albums that are like kind of jumbled all over the place, like Analphabeta Polythology by Cap and
Mm-hmm.
Jazz is like a big one for me. And I totally see the intersections between like that form of media that I'm consuming and the books that I consume and the visual art that I like and then the art that I end up making. So yeah, it's interesting to think about how like everything is kind of connected.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how it's like, cause even when you were little, you were drawing in that way, so it's kind of just
Hmm.
like an instinctive like part of like who you are.
Yeah, yeah. I think that so I don't know. Some people are just like born with it. Like you just kind of feel like you gotta. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the one exception for me is that like I really fuck with horror movies, which I feel like it's the opposite of what I just said.
Yeah.
But something about how it like groups you in like the whole time like really gets me. But I also do like movies where you kind of like live in their world too, which I guess would be
Hmm.
more in line with that. But like horror is like, I don't know, like that just like tickles my brain in a certain way.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I think that maybe the movies, and I honestly I don't have a TV, so I don't watch a whole lot of movies or shows or anything. But the movies that I do really love have always also been kind of intense and jumbled. I'm not super into horror, but I love a movie that like deeply disturbs you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe one of my favorites is Mysterious Skin, and I like stuff that just kind of sticks with you for a
Yeah.
long time. I don't know.
I know when I watched The Shining for the first time, it had that effect on me.
Yeah.
Because it was during COVID, like when it had just started. And me and my dad were watching it at like midnight, I think. Which like wasn't intentional, which is like we just like were
That
ready
would
at that
scare
time.
me.
No, and I had to go back to use the bathroom after the movie was over. I was thinking about like the Here's Johnny scene, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I do not want to be here right now. Yeah. Um, Going back to your art, so I mentioned earlier that like a lot of the artists I tend to cover are like online, which is kind of why I like your video so much because it's able to capture all this stuff in like a real world space.
Hmm.
And there have been a few times where I have been able to do that too, whether it's like a more local person or I've been to New York over the last 2 summers just because like my friends have done shows out there
Hmm.
and they'll stay for a bit. So it's like I can go hang out with my friends. Like let me go do that. And last year I did this documentary to memorialize like one of the shows that they were performing out there because it was like I knew it'd be like a big moment in my life,
Hmm.
and I think making a documentary style thing kind of helps memorialize in that way for like other people where it's like yeah it was just like a concert, but when you make this whole thing for it, it feels so much bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think doing that project was really like challenging for me because it's like I've never done something that's like that big of a scope, but also so like personal at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is why I have so much respect for what you do because you've done like a bunch of documentaries. The biggest of which being the "This is what queer punk looks like" one,
Hmm.
which is both like your longest video and like the most popular also.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious what working on that project was like for you.
That documentary specifically that I did was honestly like a little spontaneous. I that was during the first Trans Day of Visibility Fest that I hosted like two years ago now, I believe. And I just kind of like brought my camera to it and was filming around the festival, and then I wanted it to feel more interpersonal and more whole, I guess. So I talked to like individual trans people within the music scene
Mm-hmm.
to get like personal testimonies. And I don't know if it was ever very professional. I kind of like I did the interviews at like a skate ditch in Houston, and I just kind of was guerrilla style journalism, like throwing my camera around at the show. And it became like something a lot bigger than I was really expecting. I mean, those numbers on YouTube kind of blew me away, and I was just like, I would look at it every day and I'd be like, why are so many people seeing this? It kind of drove me like uh not it didn't drive me crazy. I was really really excited about it. But I was just not expecting it. So it was really cool to see how well that video did, especially since it's something that's like so near and dear to my heart
Mm-hmm.
as a trans person that like mostly didn't feel visible my whole life. To have like the first ever visibility celebration that I do become such a big deal and impact so many people was like such a huge honor for me.
Yeah, how long did it take to create that? Because I don't know, like, what the stretch of time was, like, when you were making it.
I probably did that video over like 2 months maybe. Like I think I did one day, like one full day of interviews, like the interpersonal ones, and then I filmed all day at the festival, and then I edited for uh maybe a week after, but it
Mm-hmm.
was all kind of spread out because I was also doing school and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I was in high school when I did that video.
You know what it just reminded me of? I'm in an Asian American Media Studies class right now for my minor, and we had to look at these archives online. Because normally when people get interviewed and stuff, it's because there's someone, like, of note, right? Like, normally that's what it is.
Sure.
But with these, it was, like, Asian people in Houston that were, like, immigrants, or just, like, maybe they're born there, but they have immigrant parents, whatever. But it was just, like, average people and them getting to tell, like, their life story and stuff. And that's kind of what that reminded me of, because, like, there's
Yeah.
just people in the community that are getting to tell their story. I think it's really sick.
Absolutely, yeah. That I definitely was aiming for something like that. 'Cause I did want it to feel kind of like an archive of like the average trans person's experience, like living in Houston or growing up in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to talk to just like average people in my city was really sweet. And it had also been people that have like maybe never been interviewed before, so like getting to finally like speak and be visible and tell their story feels like probably almost a little bit more special than somebody that's been interviewed 100 times. So it that was really nice and special. And it was a great experience doing that video.
Yeah, it also shows to how, like, powerful, like, the scene has been, too, for you. Because, like, I know someone said they moved, like, to Houston, like, because of the scene, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's true. Yeah, that is really crazy how like some people can just show up and immediately feel at home.
But yeah, I don't know. Seeing that was really inspirational for me also, just because, like, I think even though it's harder for me, just because a lot of what I do is more internet centric, like, I do kind of want to be able to do more things that can kind of highlight, like, the community
Hmm.
that I take place in, I guess. Because I think having stuff like that where it's very just much, like, very candid, very, like, honest is really cool.
Thank you.
And you don't get to see stuff like that often.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely really fun and fulfilling, I think. And it a lot of the time it doesn't even feel like work.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd want to do another project that's, like, on that scale?
Of the documentary?
Yeah, because it's been a hot
It
minute.
has been a minute. I was thinking about maybe filming this year's Trans Day Visibility. That's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like have to work the fest and run the merch, and it is just like a lot at once. So I'm definitely gonna try to bring my camera. I don't know if I'll get to use it too much, but if I do, it'll be cool to put something else out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool how many people that video reached too, because, like, I saw someone in, like,
Definitely.
Brazil saying they're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it was really surreal reading that because I uploaded that video maybe before Temp Tats got like the bulk of its traction, I guess. And that was kind of like my first taste of a lot of people perceiving me at once. And it was really surreal to like scroll through all those comments of people like overseas resonating with it, and being so far away but living such a similar life.
Yeah.
It was crazy to read, and I like remember sitting down and reading it with my parents and them being like, "What did you do?" Me being like, "I don't really know."
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like seeing that was just kind of opened my mind up to like I guess what's possible because I feel like I tend to do a lot of like really rigid things with how I make stuff on here, and it's like I don't know because it's so like free flowy too because just people talking and it shows like the random like clips from like the show and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it was really well done. So
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I think documentaries are such a cool way to kind of encapsulate a moment in time and make it feel larger than life and like because like it feels that way to you. But it's like when you're just telling it as like a story, people can't really like feel that same connection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the work that you put into like the Temp Tats Magazine like YouTube channel makes you feel like I was like there, even though I didn't even know what the scene was until like fairly recently in Houston.
That makes me happy to hear. I think that I also think that documentaries are like a really powerful form of storytelling. Because there's like the visual element, the audio element, the like interpersonal element with like people, like just the average person when you get to talk to them, which is really nice. And it especially with the like more DIY ones, they feel very like homey, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's a really unique form of communication, and it's hard to like encapsulate that feeling with other mediums of art, I feel.
Yeah, it made me wish that I'd known about it when I was in high school. Cause for me, my like third space, I guess, was just like the internet. Because all my music friends were like on the internet and stuff. And I kind of wish I'd known there was like a physical space I could have been going to that whole time.
That's true. Yeah.
But I bring this up to say, because like you were there the whole time. So what have some of your favorite experiences been like in the scene? Whether it's like a show you've been to, just an event that's been held, like whatever.
Yeah, I keep coming back to it, but Trans Day Visibility Fest is definitely my favorite recurring event that we do, just because that's the time where like I see so many trans people in one room. I think the first Trans Day Visibility Fest that I'd been or that I'd hosted, I'd never seen that many trans people in one room before. So it was like really cool and surreal for me, like as a trans person that grew up in Texas, to like just see that. So that event is definitely really special for me. But something that's like not my event is No Sleep Fest, which is also every year in December. My friend Pablo organizes it, and I help him all the time, and he helps me all the time. And he feels like a friendly colleague in a way, because he helps me with everything. He's the best ever. But Pablo is like the goat of DIY organizing. He pulls off some things like I don't know how he does it. He's incredible, and he's been doing it since this is the 10th year of No Sleep Fest, I believe. So it's been since like 2016, and he's just like he gets really stressed, but really he wouldn't agree with me when I say that he has his shit together. Like he knows what's up. And he's like maybe my biggest inspiration for community organizing, I feel. At least in like this local scene here. Pablo's the greatest ever.
Do you have like maybe like a moment like during a show that's like stuck out in your mind a lot?
I think that one of the like formative things for me when I was like really young and going to shows for the first time, I was like probably 14 or 15, and I was at House of J in Houston on Hutchinson Street, and this band called Mexican Coke was playing, and they're one of those bands that has like gun props, like fake guns, and they have like the ski masks on and shit, and I thought that was so cool when I was 15. Maybe I don't know how well it aged, but when I was like a kid, that was the shit, you know. And I was standing in this like garage that they were supposed to play in, and every member was on the stage. It was the floor, but the stage, except for the vocalist, and all the members were like where's the vocalist? Where is he? And everyone was just kind of like standing around waiting for him. And we waited for like 5 minutes, and then I heard like a roaring of an engine behind me. And I turned around, and the vocalist was riding his motorcycle into the garage, into the crowd, and everybody like jumps out the way, and he parks the motorcycle in the middle of the crowd and hops on the mic, and they start their set immediately. It was so cool with the motorcycle right there. And the people that were moshing were like jumping over the motorcycle and shit. It was one of the coolest things I'd like ever seen up to that point, and I was just like enthralled. And maybe like that was one of the signifying moments for me where I was like, I love this shit. I'm always gonna want to come back to this. This is so cool. And yeah, I was just like, I'd never felt that kind of adrenaline before, like as a kid. So I thought that was the coolest thing ever, maybe.
Yeah, I know you got to interview the people that run like House of J too, so I'm sure that's probably really cool because that was so formative for you.
Yeah, definitely. I spent a lot of time at House of J when I was a teenager, and the main guy that like lives there and runs the house, Jeffer, is super cool. And he's one of those people that's like all about accessibility in the community. He puts on like a bunch of free shows and tries to make everything like as affordable as possible through like a Patreon program that the house runs. It's pretty awesome. They're not as active now as they were when I was a teenager, but I think they still do stuff, and they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know they're talking about it's like it's still a house, so it's like
yeah, people live
as
there.
much as they'd love to be more active. It's like that's not sustainable.
Yeah, neighbors and stuff. It does kind of suck, but yeah, great people.
Yeah, it's funny because like I had a pretty formative experience at a show too, but again, it was like COVID, so it was like online again. But it was like, do you know what a URL fest is?
No.
Basically, I think like 100 Gex started initially, if you know them, but because nobody could have real like shows during quarantine, people would start hosting these like Minecraft raves. Where like you would like join a Minecraft server and they'd have music in like a Discord like bot.
That's cute.
And you experience it that way. But there was another like hyperpop thing called the Planet Zero Summer Solstice. And it was like, this is when Jane Remover was still like on like the come up and stuff like that, if you know who she is. But it was like just like 20 artists and it ran the whole day. And again, it's like COVID, so like I'm sad at home anyways.
Yeah.
And I just experienced so much music that to this day is so like formative to like me, because it was like, because these people were all like 16, like 18, and when they were like my age making what they were making was just so like inspirational.
That's really cool. It's interesting to hear like a formative music experience during the pandemic, because I feel like a lot of people just like paused their interaction with music, or at least like live music, for the whole year. Because it was like unsafe. But it's interesting to hear about like the digital communities that came together to still appreciate some kind of like community over or surrounding music. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just like, it's weird because I feel like COVID was like the starting point of my life in a way, because I feel like I was on like autopilot before that, and then having to sit for a year and be like, who am I? What am I doing? Definitely kind of helped like reshape like what I was doing afterwards.
Was COVID your first year of high school?
No, it was at the very end of my freshman year.
I see.
But it was like, I was new to the district too, so it was like a weird adjustment period anyways.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I was just starting to make friends when COVID hit.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
So it was like, I think I kind of needed to have that reset period where I'm like, okay, I just did this whole year.
Yeah.
I need to think about what I'm going to do when I get back, whenever that ends up being, because like we didn't know at the time.
That's a big formative year. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think also I got more into music because I actually had time to listen to albums then. Like I'd listen to like 6 like every day.
Whoa.
Because again, it's like I have nothing better to do. Let me just see like what's out there. Which I think is also why so much of the music from that time period was so like impactful for me, because it's like, that was very much like an era. Like you can't have that again.
Yeah, that's true. You'll never have that much downtime for the rest of your life until retirement, if you get to retire, if you're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, that's like only 50 more years.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you'll find it just as fulfilling as you did the pandemic year. You'll get to listen to 6
I just hope my
albums every
ears
day.
still work by then. Like that's like my biggest fear.
Fuck, you're right. You're right.
Because it's like, especially like because like you're at shows a lot too, and I work audio a lot, so it's like tinnitus, like that's a fear.
That is a fear. I maybe am the luckiest guy alive because I never wore earplugs when I was going to shows, and I don't have any ringing right now.
Do you wear them now?
Sometimes, if I remember, I will, or if I like have them on person, I will. But I never like usually go out of my way to get some, you know. And I kind of thought by this point I'd be like all fucked up, but I hear pretty well. I feel, I hear pretty average. I think.
Yeah.
I don't hear any ringing, so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, maybe you should use this as the like, okay, I got lucky. Now it's time.
That's true. Yeah, my the point where I like preserve that. I should probably
because it's one of those things where like I feel like you won't realize like how much you're taking it for granted until like you start hearing the ringing all the time.
Definitely, it would.
Because I have friends that have, and they say it's like the worst shit ever. So
I bet. Yeah, I better take care of my ears.
I know one of them said their tinnitus frequency like changes sometimes, and it freaks them out because it's like you hear this constant noise and then it changes.
Oh yeah, that would freak me out.
That has to be jarring.
Yeah, I don't want to ever live that.
Yeah. Moving on. So in every interview that I do, I have a special segment where I play rock, paper, scissors with the artist that I have on.
Mm-hmm.
And I beat Wonder Moth in the last one. So I'm on a 2-person streak right now.
I'm bad at rock, paper, scissors. So you might have your third.
Well, it's a 50-50 chance.
I don't know. I know it's a 50-50 chance, but I feel like I always lose. Like every time I feel like I lose.
Okay, well not with that attitude. Come on.
Well, you're right. I need to lighten up.
Yeah, we're going to do best 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 it is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll close my eyes.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Tied. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Has that ever happened to you before?
A lot of times.
Really?
Like, this is a consistent thing.
Really?
Dude, me and Wonder Moth tied like 8 times, I think.
Oh my god. Okay.
So we're just locked in right now.
Are we doing another 3 then?
Yeah, it's 2 out of 3 like wins.
Okay. So we just keep going till
someone has to get 2 wins, yeah.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh,
I got one. I got one.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh, I got 2. See,
and you said you're bad at rock, paper, scissors.
I am bad at rock, paper, scissors. I swear I'm bad at rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, you're so humble. You're so humble.
But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just needed to practice more. Maybe now I'm a pro. I don't know. I'm going to the
I mean, I think maybe we need like the warm up and then you got it afterwards.
That's true. Maybe I'll have to get on that.
Okay, it's kind of a prestigious title because like I'll stop
rock,
keeping
paper,
up.
Scissors?
No, I'll stop keeping up with it, but like it was a very small pool that have actually like won in these surprisingly. Like, I have like a 60% win rate or something.
Oh whoa!
Like, I crunched the numbers just to see.
That's pretty good.
So like the fact that you got in there, that's impressive.
That is impressive. Now I'm maybe gonna be a little bit egotistical about my rock, paper, scissors skills.
Yeah, listen, like you'd be like, dude, don't mess with me.
Don't mess with me. Look at my win streak. It's 1.
One of many.
Of 1.
But yeah. So moving on, I kind of mentioned earlier that like when you're doing media coverage, it's like the present, but eventually it becomes like an era.
Mm-hmm.
And like Temp Tats is like the temporary tattoo.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have it forever, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering, what are some moments of your life that you look back on fondly that you knew were like temporary when you were experiencing them?
Oh, that's such a nice way to put the name Temp Tats. I need to start telling people that's what that means, because it's really just a bullshit name that I came up with that means nothing, but I like the way that you put it. I think, like, temporary moments that felt very formative to me were definitely T-Dove Fest every year, and honestly, like, No Sleep Fest every year as well. I know that those keep coming back up, but those are always, like, very special to me because they only happen once a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a holiday almost, or like, and it's when all of my friends also get together, and you get to see everybody like coming home from college or whatever. So when you're like there, you know, oh, the next day or like within the next couple days, I'm gonna go home and maybe not see some of these people for another year.
Yeah.
So it does definitely feel very temporary and very special. Every year, the annual events do.
Yeah, I think my answer would be those New York trips because it's like, it's such a rare moment because like there's people that I've known online for like 10 years that I'm seeing in person. And last year, it was for a full week.
Mm.
So we made the most of like every day because it's like we know this can like potentially never happen like ever again.
I also went to New York last summer.
Do you know like what time was it?
I think it was in July.
Do you know what week in July?
It was whenever Cap and Jazz's reunion show was in New York, because that's why I went.
I was there the 11th through the 18th.
It might have been somewhere around that time. I was in Brooklyn.
I was in Brooklyn too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was going to the Cap and Jazz reunion show, and I was visiting my friend Callisto that lives outside of New York, but close enough to go to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really awesome. My friend Alex and I stayed in this hotel that was so tiny, and the toilet was in the shower, and I'd never seen anything like it before. It was really, really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this tattoo when I was there of Elliott Smith at a walk-in shop.
A permanent tattoo.
A permanent tattoo, yeah. And I was like, I went into the walk-in shop kind of looking for like a bad tattoo, like expecting it to be like a little campy, because it's hard to do a portrait, and it's hard to find a good artist at a walk-in shop. But I gave the guy this picture, and he killed it. It's like maybe my best tattoo. And I was really not expecting it to be good at all, so I left with like a really nice permanent tattoo.
Wait, so you were cool with it being like...
I really like bad tattoos.
Because it's like, I want to get one at some point, but it's like... Because I've had a dream one time where I had some like really awful tattoo, and like I kept looking at my body, there's just more and more of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, I fucked up so bad.
You have scary dreams.
Not usually, no, honestly.
Yeah.
But that one freaked me out too. So it's like, if I get one, it's gotta be like really good.
Yeah, definitely. When I was getting my first tattoos, I was in my sophomore year of high school, I think, and my dad let me because he was friends with this tattoo artist that owed him $20,000. And the guy was just like would just like do him favors and stuff because he couldn't pay him back $20,000. So I got a bunch of free tattoos from that guy, but the catch was that he sucked. And the catch was also that his tattoo studio was in this like abandoned apartment complex in Cyprus, and there's a tattoo under this one. This is a portrait of my cat in like a heart gilded frame. And originally it was just like a regular like circular frame with my cat in it, but it turned out so bad. He didn't give her an eye, and it got infected, and I had to go to the ER to get steroids for it. It was disgusting, and it was like my whole arm was like this reddish purple. It was so gross, and I was like, okay, maybe I should stop getting bad tattoos from shady places. And I went to this artist named Michael Santiago in Houston, and he fixed it, and now it's like my favorite tattoo ever. It's my beautiful cat. I love her. But
what's her name?
Sky.
Shout out Sky.
Yeah, and I always tell people the tattoo's not bad. She's just actually ugly in real life. Her eyes do go on two different directions, and she's just like a little bit lopsided looking. It's not because it's a bad tattoo. She just looks like that.
Yeah. I think another temporary thing is kind of like when you know you're at the end of like a period, but you're not all the way at the end, like the end of summer, for example.
Yeah.
Where I found like the last few months of like my senior year of high school, and low-key right now too, because I'll be going into my senior year next year for college.
Me too. It's really surreal.
Yeah, it's just like you learn to appreciate everything so much more because you know it's going to end soon.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way as well, and it's a little bit like daunting if you like don't know what's gonna happen next. Like I'm in the process of like looking into grad schools right now, and it's really scary because I'm applying to like 13 schools, and I'm just like hoping that one will let me in, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't know if someone's gonna let me in. I don't know what my GRE score is. I don't know if my application's gonna be good. I don't know if my essay is gonna be good, and it's just like also scary, I think. But I mean, like I know that like realistically I know that like everything's gonna be fine in the end, and like everything's gonna work out, and if it doesn't work out, then it's like a redirection to me doing something else that will work out, you know, and I'm gonna be good.
Yeah.
But just like the uncertainty, I think, is very daunting.
I don't know. I think life always kind of puts you where you're like meant to be.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Definitely.
Like me and the last time I did an IRL was with Departure, who's like a rapper from Austin. But me and him were talking about how it's like I don't set like goals for like a new year anymore. Like as in like things that I want to do. Because I found that usually I never do them, but I do a lot of things that are all honestly like cooler than those that I didn't even think about. And it's like you just kind of end up there.
Yeah, that
so
makes
I
sense.
feel like you'll end up where you need to be.
But
hopefully it is grad school.
Hopefully. That's a nice way to put it. I know that it'll work out even if like I feel like I am one of those people that like always wants to have control over like my life and the situations that I'm in, and I'm approaching something where like I really don't have any control because the decision at the end of the day is like up to the schools if they want to let me in or not. So I just kind of like feel like very like there's not much I can do. I feel like a helpless little orphan, like just kind of like waiting for somebody to answer. So I don't know, but I know that I think I'll have a good solid application, and I think I'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat right now for internships, because it's like I think I'm pretty awesome, right? But it's like
everyone else is, which is
that's the hard part, because it's like I did my interview and my friend interns at the place that I applied to already.
Word.
So like he told me what his boss said. He was like, yeah, you had a good interview, but also it's so competitive this year. So it's like I did fine, but it's just like I don't know if I'll get it. I think I hear back like sometime within the next week for that one.
Oh, that's so scary. Good luck.
Thank you. I hope it works out, but if not, again, like it just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. Do you have one of those majors where you have to do an internship to graduate?
I thought I did, but I don't.
Word.
There was like a requirement that I like misread, and I thought I had to have an internship, but I don't. But I just like
that's good. That takes.
I know that I should get one for the summer though, so it's like
keep that resume up.
Yeah. Although one thing I really regretted was like we did the interview, and then he was asking me like, so tell me more about yourself. And I was trying to think of what I should talk about because most of it was already on like the resume sheet.
Yeah.
Because he specified what's not already on here. I realized like I probably should have talked about like all of this because it's like
this is a great
I'm
thing
applying
to
to audio stuff. Like I should be talking about I'm working with all these artists already. I just like didn't do it.
Oh, hey, well now you know for the next one you do.
Yeah, I mean like it was on the resume, but I should have like talked about it
more in depth. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
When I was applying for my job that I have right now is like totally unrelated to everything that I want to do. I'm just trying to pay for school and shit.
Yeah.
But I work for the city in one of those like city owned parking garages, and when I was applying I didn't bring up any of the journalism stuff that I do. I was just like, I've worked at Juiceland, I have customer service experience, I know how to handle cash, and that's what they cared about. But I feel like it's that life is like so separate from like everything that I actually like want and love doing like career wise. It just feels like surreal to have a job that you kind of like don't really give a fuck about, and you kind of like live this other life outside of it.
Yeah, that's how college can feel for me sometimes, where it's like all my ambitions are like not related to like my classwork a lot of the time.
Yeah,
but it's like I still gotta be here, so
you gotta. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I guess speaking about that actually, so I mentioned earlier that like we're both from Houston, but in my case like I'm from Houston, but like outside of me living there I had no real like ties to, if that makes sense. Like so I just went to Houston, now I'm in Austin, right? But in your case everything you kind of built up to this point is in Houston, and even like for the show you're doing like you have to drive all the way back, so I was kind of curious how like being in Austin has been so far, like knowing that so much of what you've done is like in Houston.
Yeah, I definitely still feel like Houston is my home, really. If someone asks me, like, where are you from, I always say Houston. I, like, would rarely bring up that I live in Austin right now. I don't know. I feel like I'm in Austin to, like, fulfill a part of my career, essentially. Like, but quality of life here is great. I do like living here, but it just doesn't really feel like home, you know? And I'm lucky that it's, like, driving distance from Houston, and my biggest flex is that I have an easy tag on my truck, so I can take the toll road and I can just speed all the way home. I can be home in like 2 hours. It's pretty nice.
Has it been like I guess like straining in a way, like not being there because it makes everything a little more difficult in terms of like doing events and stuff.
I really thought it would be, but it hasn't had too much of an impact on me. The real part that I like feel like I'm missing out on sometimes is sometimes like my friends will have a show like on a weekday that I
Mm-hmm.
would like normally totally turn up for and support, but I like can't because I have school or work here.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, but like I can come back on weekends and I can still organize there pretty easily. So I don't feel like I'm missing out too much, but it is harder to like be there for my community sometimes, like living far away for sure. But I don't necessarily feel detached.
Yeah. Do you go back home a lot then?
I go back home pretty often. I haven't been in like a minute because I've been working on the weekends,
Mm-hmm.
which is the worst. I wish I could just work on weekdays after school, but they always schedule me for the weekend, so I haven't been able to like go home too much like within the last couple months. But normally I would, and in the summer I spend a lot of time at home for sure.
Yeah. And then how do you think Austin's DIY scene compares to Houston's?
Something that I don't like about the Austin DIY scene is that there's more barriers to entry. I think that shows tend to be more expensive. Shows tend to be like $15-$20 here.
Yeah.
And also shows tend to be 21 plus, and I'm 20, so like I can't go to a lot of them. But one of the great things about the Austin DIY scene is Tiny Sounds Collective. They do like so much like great all ages stuff. And they do things outside of music too. They do like book club, they do trash pickup. So it's a really cool way to like engage with the music and art community here, even though there is more barriers to entry, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston it definitely tends to be more accessible. There's like more free shows, more like cheap shows, and most shows are all ages. I think it's rare to see a show that's 21 plus in Houston.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like different for sure. And I think that Houston just tends to have like more hardcore music. Austin doesn't, or at least that I've seen, doesn't really have that. There's a bunch of like emo stuff here though, which is pretty awesome.
Dude, it's funny that you say that because I have to run the. So for context, the room that we're in right now is at the student radio production room, and I run the audio for when bands are playing on that board over there.
Oh, that's so cool.
But the guy that does the booking right now, he only books heavy bands.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like probably what you'd like. And it's like I like them sometimes, but when it's every week and I
Yeah.
know we could be having like
You get a
whatever's on this
headache.
wall, it's like
Yeah.
dude, they had Alex G here in 2014. So
It's
it's
so cool.
so it's like we can have whoever, but you're choosing to purposely get these same people every week. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get that like variety sometimes. I feel like in Austin it's hard to scout out local bands sometimes because of the barriers to entry. Cuz I think that like in Houston the best bands are like bands that start with like high school students that kind of like branch out and they keep working at it and they
Mhm.
become like this bigger band over time, and they like are able to get really tight in their sound because they've worked together for so long, because there was no barriers to entry and because music was so accessible to them at a young age. They're able to like cultivate this tight sound, which is really cool about Houston bands. I don't see that a lot here just because it's hard to like play shows here if you're not 21, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I know the guy that does the booking here, he books a lot of his own shows too when he plays. So he's constantly at like co-ops, and I know he was at like South by Southwest this year too. So like there's definitely ways to, but I feel like you have to know a lot of people, which is the hard
Definitely.
part.
Yeah, the barriers to entry just kind of sucks.
Like I think cuz did you get here in 2024? Was that your first year here?
Yes.
So I think you were here like the tail end of like the DJ Moonbaby era, if you
Oh
know who
yeah,
she is.
yeah, I know Moon Baby.
Yeah, because she was like the booker at the time, but like I think since she's
She
left,
moved to New York, right?
yeah. And then this guy was good friends with her, but he's also about to graduate, so that's like I don't know who's gonna be
Oh
like the
yeah.
booker like
Hey,
after he's gone.
we'll see. It's
Yeah,
a surprise.
but yeah, I do agree though. I feel like a lot of the Austin stuff is very like connections based in terms of like
Hmm.
being able to get opportunities and stuff.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of DIY stuff here, which is pretty unfortunate.
But I also think like if you just start talking to people though, like eventually you kind of find your way. Like
Yeah.
even to do this, like I didn't ask to do this. It was like handed to me almost
Yeah.
because I was like for context, like I was like the post audio like intern here.
Hmm.
I say intern into quotes because it's a student org. But like the person that was doing post audio like decided they want to do it, didn't want to do it anymore.
Hmm.
And there were like three other interns, and she was just like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So like since
It's
then I've been doing
thrown
it.
at you.
Yeah. So it's like I think if you do like make an effort, like you will be handed opportunities for things to happen.
Definitely.
But you have to
Yeah.
put yourself in that scenario in the first place.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for my last proper question here,
Hmm.
it's something I ask everybody, but Temp Tats Magazine has been such like an inspo for what I kind of want to do with Hidden Driveway going forward.
Thank you.
Because I think I'm still going to do a lot of the online interviews just because that's kind of like the way that I have to do a lot of them. But I do want to do more like real life centric like projects now just because like I think that sense of real world community really can't be like replicated in the same way.
Hmm.
And being able to capture it in like real footage like this is so special. And it just seems like what you've been doing has been getting bigger and bigger like every year. So
Thank you so much.
what's like next for Temp Tats Magazine going forward?
Well, I'm working on the big compilation book that features every published issue, and I'm doing these like remastered pages because I think that over the time that I've been making Tim Tats Magazine, I've definitely gotten better at like graphics and also writing just in general. So I'm kind of like taking pages from old issues and like making slight improvements on them and republishing. And it's gonna be like a big hardcover coffee table book, which I'm really excited for. It'll be like surreal to hold that in my
Mm-hmm.
hands. So that's the next big thing, and also issue 11 with No Sleep Fest is coming up, and then T-Dove Fest this Saturday is my big one. Really excited for that, and then. In the summer, I do Tats Fest, which is annual, just like local Texas bands. And I'm booking a bunch of shows this summer, so there will be a lot of Houston stuff happening, and yeah, just a lot of fun community stuff, a lot of print stuff, and I've also been making these like mini zines. I'm making one about like uh accessibility and vegan recipes, and then I'm making one about intersections between Trans Day of Visibility as a de facto holiday and First Amendment rights,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be pretty cool. And the mini zines, I'm going to hand those out for free, which will be nice. I'm trying to like promote this like sort of free zine economy within the music scene. I hope that it's something that other people catch on to and start doing, because I think that it's really fun and valuable, and create something for like people to hold on to, and remember, and also learn and teach each other, which is nice. So yeah, those are my big things coming up.
Yeah, and is there anything maybe that like you'd like to do but isn't like a concrete like plan, just like a hope for the future that you want to like manifest maybe?
Oh, good question. I definitely want to like grow the network of bands that I work with. I think it would be cool to do more like mixed genre stuff. I feel like Temp Tats is mostly like emo hardcore, like indie kind of shit, but it
Mm-hmm.
would be really cool to do some like folky country kind of stuff. Cuz that's like a lot of the music that I listen to also. So it would be nice to kind of branch out genre wise. But no specific ideas for that yet. Just kind of like a broader concept.
Yeah.
I've been working on this like folk project with one of my friends that I'm really excited about. So maybe when we get some music out, we'll do like a little acoustic show or something kind of intimate like that. So that could be pretty cool. It might take a while, but that stuff will happen eventually for sure.
And is that like a are those people in Austin also, or are they like in Houston? You have to go
Um,
back and forth for that.
my friend that I'm doing it with lives in San Marcos, so it's about like 40 minutes away,
That's not
maybe.
that bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Sometimes we meet in the middle. His name is Aiden. He used to play in the band I Promised the World, and he goes to Texas State. And we met at No Sleep Fest last year, and we had a great conversation during the festival about like Elliott Smith and Towns Van Zandt, and we realized that we live so close together. And recently, I play the banjo, which is so people are sometimes put off when I say that, but I play the banjo, and he's super good at the guitar. And we both love writing and have really similar like inspirations when it comes to like fiction and poetry, and we like kind of immediately clicked with our music. So we'll have something coming out hopefully maybe this year, maybe. I don't know how much longer we want to work on it for. We kind of don't have a concrete plan.
Is it a full like album, or
I'm thinking like an EP. We have like individual songs that we've been working on, and he has a lot of songs that he writes by himself because he can spit music out like that. Like, he's super talented. I don't have that ability. I work on shit for like way longer because I'm not as good as him. But he has a bunch of songs and we have some together, so maybe we'll put them into like an EP or something. I'm not really sure yet. We'll see how it goes, but I've really enjoyed doing that for the past couple months.
Yeah, I don't know you made music at all, so that's really cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't really have like stuff out like that, and I'm not like really in like local bands or anything, but I play the banjo for fun, and I have one of those harmonica things that you put around your neck, and it like sits and you can play the harmonica while you play the banjo. So I look like a hillbilly a little bit, but it's really fun. I love it.
I know my grandpa has like a nose flute. Like, you stick it up your nose and you can play it through your nose.
That's so cool. I need to get something like that.
No, he has so many random instruments because he wants to be a musician, but he's never been good at like, making music. But he just buys little like trinkets and messes around with them for like,
I'm like that a little bit. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm dying over here. I have an acoustic guitar, and I can play guitar a little bit, but I'm not super good. I just kind of like have it because it was $10 at the thrift store. But I mess around with it sometimes, and I have a bass. I've been playing bass for a long time, but I'm just not really good. I just kind of like have it, you know? I have just a bunch of bullshit instruments that I mess with sometimes, but I'm no pro for sure.
Yeah, I can play piano and then like the smallest amount of guitar.
Piano's pretty awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's a really good baseline instrument to know, I think.
Yeah.
But I wish I knew a stringed instrument, because if you can play one, I feel like you can kind of play all of them.
That's true. Yeah. When I kind of wish that I started playing guitar before I started playing bass, because I think that I would have picked up bass way easier. I never realized how much easier bass was from a guitar until I played both. But yeah, it's really fun, and banjo's definitely my favorite though.
Yeah. All right. Well, as the episode comes to a close, first, is there anyone you want to give any shout outs to? And because I didn't mention it earlier, are there any like Houston bands that you just want to be like, go check them out?
Oh yeah. Honestly, like, the Houston band that I've been listening to a bunch lately is Ink Dyed Hands. They're like kind of this like braid inspired emo band, but like maybe a little bit more melancholy. And they're really, really awesome. I listen to their stuff all the time. They're one of the Houston bands that's like on my playlist. They're pretty sick. So shout out Ink Dyed Hands, and shout out Pablo No Sleep Fest, of course. And DSFP Records is so awesome. They like, if you have band merch, if you have band hats, if you have band stickers from like local Texas bands, it's probably printed by him. So he does like a lot of awesome behind the scenes stuff. He's super cool. Shout out, this one's a smaller one. My friends run a zine called Countercall Zine. Really cool local Houston zine. Super queer. If y'all are into queer zines, check that out. And yeah, come to Trans Day Visibility Fest this Saturday. Witness trans art. Follow all of the bands on the lineup. I think that you'll get a lot out of it. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really awesome.
No, of course. I was so excited to do this because, again, like, I used to do these on a weekly basis. Yeah. Like, for a year straight, I've done them every week. And I realized, like, this is so much work.
It is a lot.
And I had done the Wonder Moth one last week. I'm still editing it right now. And I remembered why I don't do them back to back anymore.
It's hard.
Because I had to edit that one while I was preparing for this one.
You had great questions too. They
Thank
were like
you.
specifically geared. I can tell that you spent like a lot of time writing them out. So
yeah,
thank you for that.
Yeah, I always try to make sure that the interviews are very like central to like who I'm talking to, making sure they kind of know like how to talk about what I'm asking. So I appreciate that too.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, so shout out all those people, and shout out Tyler of Temp Tats Magazine. This is super awesome. Again, I think to seeing what you've been doing with your own platform has been really inspirational for like what I kind of want to do going forward, and getting to talk to you was super cool, super awesome.
That's fantastic to hear. Thank you so much for thinking of me for your show. I know that it's like maybe not the medium of like artists that you usually interview, so thank you for going like a little offbeat to have me on. I really appreciate it, and it's been fantastic, and this place is so cool, so I'm very happy to be here today.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to branch out more, because like I think the majority of what I've covered is like mostly hip-hop stuff, just because that's like who I know. But I haven't wanted to do more things where it's like outside of that, because like now that I know that I have some sort of like a platform, it's like I gotta put people on or whatever. So like, because I think what you do is super cool, and it also has nothing to do with anything that I cover.
Yeah,
so that's like a whole other world someone can go like explore now.
Super cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course, yeah. All of his links will be down in the description, so please go check it out. It's super awesome, and yeah, that's like everything I have to say. So if you have one final message, like now would be the time.
I'm gonna go with the classic Temp Tats Magazine slogan. Fuck corporate press, and I'm gonna do the add-on before it fucks you.
Ooh, I like that.
That's my ending statement.
Okay. Well, I'm AAMU. This has been the Hidden Driveway Show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.